as promised, quick review of the head that's just come back, freshly skimmed, and what a thing of beauty. Look at that, how nice does that look? Yeah, loads of thickness yet, so they can still take plenty off if needs be at a later date. As I said, it's all pressure tested, all ready to go. Thing of beauty there, recently skimmed, not a blemish in sight. And as I did last night, the job I did was all the valve stem seals are all done, so that's all done as well. So head in regards to head, there's nothing to do. This I'll put to one side. Now I cleaned out the intakes on the head when it got back. I cleaned them all out. WD-40 or similar tissue, and cleaned out all the intakes, and this is what came out of the intakes. Look at that, look how manky that is. With that's just with the breather feeding back into the intake lines. So we'll try and do something about that before we start her up again. Really, going to get some sort of catch tank or something there to minimise that again, because that is just manky. So the block, going over to the block, that's the next job, is get this all cleaned off, all spotless, even the tops of the cylinders, get them all cleaned off, ready for the new gasket and new head, which I hope to be doing today. So what I'm going to do is basically get plenty of rags, tissues, WD-40, gasket scraper, fine sandpaper to get it all cleaned off, and get it ready to go basically. Right, as you can see, everything's clean, everything's tidy, everything's had a rub down, ready for the new cylinder. Head, or replacement cylinder head, or reconditioned, whichever one you're going to put on. Got a new gasket. Make sure these two are in. There's two locators here. Make sure that they're in, and they want to be in the block first, with the slightly shaved ends pointing upwards. So when you put the head on, it's easy to locate, and the shaved ends find their way in. This other way around, you could nip into the head or anything. So that's where you want it. So bolts are here, and as suspected, they do not come in any order. They just come in a bag, basically. Bag of one size, bag another size, box another size. That's how they come in. So luckily, obviously, with that box that we did earlier, all in location, all in certain lengths and sizes. It'll be one out of the box, and then obviously a new one straight in the head. So there's no mix-up. Gently find its way in. There you go. That's its new head. That's its new home for the next few miles. Make sure there's nothing on it. Now the head. Right, here's the new head. Right, little tip. Fiddly. Careful, do not drop it or move it too hard in any way. Right, far two bolts. They are both the biggest. They are two of the biggest, which is these two here, this type here. Okay, put them in place first. The one's furthest away. Put them both in place first, because, as you remember from before, taking them out, they won't clear the bulkhead. So put them in so they don't go below the face of the gasket. Get an elastic band like this, and secure them together, whichever way, how, doesn't matter, as long as they don't go anywhere afterwards. That's it. Now, lifting the head on, very gentle, lift it up, carry it into place, support yourself every step of the way. Right, it's found both its locators, so now it's a case of putting the bolts where they belong, and that is according to the manual. Now, the 140mm bolts, which are the biggest of the lot, they need doing up individually on their own at the end, tighter than the rest. So what I do is put a black mark black dot on them as I come to them, so I can find them again easy enough because the heads are all the same. I'm going to undo this one, allow these to drop in. They're going to nip, they're going to go in. Yeah, they're going lovely. Lovely, 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 they're going in. You can see clearly now, valve seals looking very nice and smart. That'll do. Next two big uns. Yep, two big uns. So two big uns out the box. Dots on them. And into the holes. See that we get the thread. Thread's taken perfectly on all of them. I'm not doing these in any particular order because at this stage it doesn't matter, because it's not putting any stress or any tension on the head at all. So 40 Newton meters on your torque wrench, and what does come with instructions on how to torque it is either a manual or when you get a new gasket, your actual gasket has it in, which is brilliant, saves a heck of a lot of messing about. And you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and etc, 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 working your way from inwards to outwards each time. So the first one to do would be this one. So I'm going to take that up to 40 Newton meters. That's it. And 18. Right, they're all torqued down to 40 Newton meters now. So it's not going anywhere basically, it's nipped up, it's fine. Tighten up to a degree. Now the first thing is 60 degree all around, second one 60 degree all around, and the dotted ones only, which is the big 140s, they want an extra 40 degree after that. We'll try and make it so it's supposed to be setting off at 0, which is this piece here, and have that always facing toward you, and you know you're always going to go stop there. That's 60. Right, they're all got the first 60 on. Do the same again, another 60. Cheers, so towards me. No, this is a bit tight. Right, 1. 60 is. Find a place of our. That's it. 2. Okay, let's refit the push rods then. That's all nipped down. Everything's nips down. All secure. Ready to sort of go again now, really. Yeah, it's coming in dark, so let's crack on. Push rods. Back to the piece of cardboard, all in a line as before. What I'm going to do is drop a little bit of oil down each hole where they go, so it's not going in dry. Then just simply refit. Down they go. That's it. You can tell when they're reseated. You just lower them in, and then you just there you go. Just have a little bit of play, move them about just slightly. You can just fit, that's it, you just feel them. Just drop slightly into the seat. Because you don't want it tight, you don't want to tighten your rocker shaft up if it's not seated correctly. Now, the shaft, this is sprung. These are slight springs in between them, and what they can do is push them away from the mounting holes, which it has slightly. Let them two are right, that third one's slightly out. Fourth one is way out. Right, we're in. Just need to then now locate push rods. Yeah, we'll do that nicely. Won't be too much of a hard job. Right, little shims. We'll get on like that, I think. Shims, make sure they're all clean. A little bit of oil on top where they're going to sit. One shim at a time. Seat. Do not lose these at this stage, because they can drop anywhere. And I suggest you do always do this after you put your push rods in. If you do it beforehand and you lose one of these, the chances are you could go into depth of the engine and you will be absolutely kicking yourselves. Two more to go. Seated nicely. There she goes. Right, let's see if we can lower these into place a bit more. Positioning the rod as we go. So we're looking at 38 Newton meters. Do a quick check to make sure. We're seated. There we are. Tension it up. Do a bit at a time. Eight. And two. You struggle with 38 at the back because you can't get your socket ratchet on it. That'll do. Engine at turn 2. To make sure everything works, it should. Okay, valve clearances then. Let's check the clearances. So when the toilet is fully open, that's the second one along. Right, it's fully down, so when it comes up, it's about there before it's fully up now. So when 2's fully up, I'm going to check 7, which is the far end. See what the clearance is like. Cannot get anything in there actually, as it happens. Because it wants to be a 20mm, or 0.20 should I say. There's a 0.220. So, we need to loosen it off. That was tight. Loosen it off and just. Close it down onto the 20. There it wants to be. So now, ease it off, lift it, turn that, put that down, and turn it up. Nice and tight. So that's and tight. So 7 is done. Okay, clearances are done. Checked more than once. I like to do them, check them twice afterwards, just in case there's something that's slightly needs altering. That's all 100%. Rocker cover has been all cleaned up. New gasket on, as everybody suggests or advised, is just put a very thin slither of oil, very thin. Even if you have to put a bit on and then roughly wipe it off with a rag afterwards, it's just a little bit of something to lubricate it into place and help it find its bearings when you lay it over. The tricky thing is to turn it over and connect it up without it falling away from its base. Now you need to go around the whole thing and checking to make sure it's not out of sync anywhere, because once you tighten it up, if you tighten it up and it's not 100% bedded in to its in its proper area, then it's going to kink out of place and it's not going to work. That looks okay. Force them through the new seals, find the threads, 13mm. Ratchet spanner just to get it down quicker. It's not going anywhere. Recheck the gasket. It's all seated nicely. Right, glow plug replacement. Just a quick look at the old and new. Guess which is which? Yeah, obvious. Old one, absolutely mankied up. Probably chances of working are very, very slim compared to brand new. Look at that, lovely, clean, shiny. Not going to cause any problems at all. So out with the old, and in with the new. Had resistance. Just a drop of oil. Give it a second to soak in. That's it. Little nut off the top to allow the socket to go on. Screw them in by hand. They are torqued up at 16 Newton meters. These 16 Newton meters. Wiring in. Well, we've still got access, easy access that is. And then obviously don't forget the two on the end. Obviously the feed from the engine or the ignition, and then the actual one itself that runs it down the line. 0.7mm socket. Just on the ends, just to give it just a little nip, just to tighten it up a bit. Now, if we put the breather up, we can get the injectors in while the breather is on, so this can actually go back on now. So just push it into place. Tighten that up. Nice and securely. A bit of a, keep your toes tight. A bit of a nip. Nope. That's it. That's your uncle. And what do you call them, your arms and all that. Okay, now we're refitting the recently cleaned out injectors. That's the result of my previous video. Nice running injectors, clean from the tip all the way up to the end. All sorts of roughed off on the outside, clean on the inside, tested, and the spray pattern is absolutely beautiful. It's perfect. So now the idea is to first, using a little bit of grease, what I tend to do is put a little bit of grease on the end, just a little bit, to then hold in the new copper washer. And just let that bed in a little bit. There you go, because if you don't use them, when you tip them upside down, the first thing you do is drop to the floor. So that's going to hold that quite nicely. Get your little clamp and your bolt. Find out where you need to be. And your hole. Now there's your clamp. Go so far down, clamp it on the minute you can, and then that's just above the actual mounting hole, and then follow it, let it follow down, and it sits in there perfectly. So that you need to do. Put this nut on, run her down. Finger tight, and then torque her up. The torque setting for this is 25. So 25 onto there. 25. Save this one for demo purposes. What it's doing now is pushing the injector down, crushing the new seal and making the bond, there you go, and sealing it so there's no leakage. We don't like leakage, do we? Right, injector runoff, overflow if you like, back to fuel pump. Lines are reconnected. Bear in mind there's a copper washer at either side of the joint of the union there, so make sure you've got two on each one, one before it and one between it and the injector. And it's from here where the tank's going to fit, the catch tank, oil catch tank, 'cause it's this bit that comes out of here, the feed out of here, that makes a mess on this side of the engine when it's fed back in. So we're going to put a catch tank, put it somewhere further down the line where it's easy to mount before it does actually get fed in, because there's nothing else you can do with it apart from feed it back in, but the cleaner you feed it in the better. So that's another one done and dusted, so we'll see what tomorrow brings. Cheers.